It would be incorrect to say that right-wingers never fight with each other. Obviously, there is a lot more infighting that goes on the left, but there's still right-wing infighting from time to time, and a recent example of this is the fight over wedding rings and engagement rings. That's right. Right-wingers are at each other's throats over how much money you should spend on a wedding ring and how big that ring should be. So it all started when Sarah Stock, who's a conservative writer and commentator, she describes herself as a Christian nationalist, posted a picture of her hand with her wedding ring on it. She captioned it, "I won, good for her." And then a bunch of these conservative commentators, influencers came after her saying, "Oh, the size of that thing. Look at the size of that ring," attacking her over that. Because I guess size matters so much when it comes to wedding rings. Look, whatever, just as long as the ring is not microscopic, in which case nobody could even tell that you have it on. And so for all they know, you could be single. Just wear the ring, make it visible. That's that. And then you have all these other conservatives saying, "Oh, it doesn't look like there was much money spent on this ring." Really? Really? We are going to obsess over how much money you spend on a wedding ring? Now, look, I've never been married. I've never bought a wedding ring. But the idea that you should spend six figures on this, or as some people say, 3 months of your salary, a quarter of a year of your salary on a wedding ring, that's something people actually say. It should be this expensive. No, that is not a good idea. That is not a wise idea. You're getting something that symbolizes your marriage. Obviously, it's important. But your marriage is more about you and your partner, not material things. Materialism, I swear, it can just be a plague on our American society and the world as a whole. I don't mean to single out America. But yeah, there were some people in the comments on Twitter pointing this out, saying, "Hey, no, look, that's fine. Marriage is about you and your partner, not your ring." But there was actual backlash over the ring itself. So look, if you get a wedding ring, you say you buy it for a couple hundred, couple $1,000s, and you give it to your girl when you propose, and she goes, "That ring is not that good. What? Why? I mean, it's not that big. It doesn't look like it's very expensive." That's a giant red flag. And yeah, you should really reconsider. People should not be this materialistic. I'm sorry. We need to care more about each other than about material things. And part of caring about each other is understanding that we all have means that we live within. Some people fail to live within their means a lot of the time. But most prudent people will try to live somewhere within their means. Maybe not way beneath their means, but they're not going to go and spend, I mean, God forbid, something like more than half a year of their salary on their wedding ring. That would be patently insane. But yeah, if they spend a couple $100 on it, so what? They proposed to you. You still won. And that's what it's all about, is winning. Not about money, not about glamour. And I can tell you, look, I've seen plenty of married people. I've seen the rings on their hands, but I don't pay attention. I don't care. Like, you think that society cares? You think that people are going to go, "Oh, look, I, who am not associated at all with your marriage, have to say that your wedding ring looks a little rough. I have to assume, therefore, that the quality of your marriage is absolutely rubbish because your wedding ring doesn't live up to my incredibly high standards." No, it doesn't work that way. And it's so weird that, conservatives who talk a lot of the time about, money's not that important. Money can't buy happiness. A lot of these wealthy conservatives say that. They downplay the importance of money in order to attack the idea of, social programs for the poor. We don't want to spend money to help the poor because money won't help them. They say, "Oh no, you need money to buy a really good wedding ring. You need that." It's like, really, that's kind of contradictory. And they sometimes call the left materialistic and stuff. They say, "Oh, all you care about is money, like raising wages and stuff." Well, it's about more than money. You're just treating it like it's all about money by obsessing over the size of the wedding ring and how much people spend on it. Emily Wilson commented, "The size of that ring," skull emoji, in the comments below the post. Like, really? Size does not matter when it comes to rings. Just wear the darn thing. Wear a ring pop for all I care. Wear a ring pop for your marriage. Just make sure that it's a blue one, because blue is the best color of ring pop. But yeah, this is just a giant L from anyone who is arguing against this ring. Good for Sarah Stock. I'm sure I disagree with her on 90+% of the issues, but getting married, getting a ring, ignoring the haters, that's all good. Not getting married is totally fine too. You're free to do what you want. If you don't want to have a ring, That's fine too. You know, you can get married without a wedding ring, actually. Believe it or not, that's perfectly legal. That's perfectly legal. No statutes, state or federal, prohibit that. So you can enjoy your married life together and not obsess over petty material things. There are some things that are just way more important than a ring when it comes to your marriage. Think about the house you're gonna raise your kids in, the clothes you're gonna dress your kids in, all that stuff. You know, the school you're gonna send them to, the vacations that you take together, the honeymoon, all that stuff, how cool your wedding is, because you're gonna have pictures of that wedding from here to eternity, you know. You wanna have good, nice pictures, a good venue, a great wedding dress and a great tux, you know, looking sharp. But no. The most important thing is the thing that's on your finger. Really? Total materialistic nonsense from these far-right commentators. Pearl Davis was one of the people who was mad about this as well. Now, Pearl Davis is a red pillar, and I've criticized red pill a lot. I agree with it on some things, but I mostly disagree with it. She is a terrible representative of the red pill ideology. She's up there with Andrew Tate in terms of how bad she is. I mean, she's not a criminal like him as far as I know, but she is not a good arguer. She does not make good points. She's a staunch anti-feminist. And yeah, there are red pillars who are actually more intelligible than her and represent the ideology better than her. But when she's coming after you about your wedding ring, you know you probably didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry to say to people who support Pearl Davis, if there are any watching this video. But some people, when they go after you, it's just a sign that you made the right decision, or at least that you didn't make the wrong decision. So these are my thoughts on wedding rings. Again, full disclosure and disclaimer, I've never bought a wedding ring. I've never been married. Some people say I look like a little boy, so you won't be surprised by that. But yeah, don't stress so much over the price of things like that. I saw this video, it wasn't on TikTok, it was some short, maybe on Facebook or Instagram. This guy was interviewing women in the street, and he asked them, how much should a guy spend on a wedding ring? And this girl goes, $75,000. $75,000. There are plenty of towns and cities in this country where the median salary is under $75,000. So I don't know, maybe they paid her to say that in order to, you know, promote a message of like, oh, look at how unreasonable our expectations as a society have gotten. But she also might have said that totally authentically. I don't know. I don't mean to completely take these things like that at face value, but if you seriously think that a guy should spend $75,000 on a wedding ring, I ask that you reevaluate your priorities. Think about what that $75,000 could go to. Could go into retirement plans, an IRA, Roth IRA, investing in the S&P 500, all that stuff, your house, simple, you know, paying off your student loans if you have any. So much in terms of opportunities to better spend your money than a wedding ring. And I don't mean to downplay the importance of a wedding ring, but I will downplay it compared to how much Pearl Davis and some of these people like Emily Wilson are upplaying it, exaggerating it. I'm sorry to, yes, you wear it all the time. It's on your finger. That is an important thing. But should you be coughing up thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands? I don't know if there's uber wealthy people that do that out there on a ring. No, the answer is no. You should not flex your money in order to try and look cool. You should not be like living way above your means in order to try and look cool to people. Be like, yeah, look at me, I'm super rich and fancy, bro. You know, I'm Mr. Fancy Pants with my fancy wedding ring that's massive and that, you know, my girl wears, and it shows everyone that we're super high status, even though we now have to live paycheck to paycheck as a result of my stupid decision to buy this super expensive wedding ring. And, you know, we still have student loans, and, you know, we can barely afford our house. Yeah, no, it's great. No, come on, you gotta be wise. Being flashy and showy can be good from time to time, you know? I get it, sometimes you wanna go somewhere fancy for dinner or something like that, buy some really fancy clothes. But you can't do it for something as small as this, I'm sorry to say. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. This is The More the Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.